Welcome to the Redacted Room. Imagine a desolate stretch of highway, a place where the ocean meets a quiet, almost forgotten coastline. Now imagine that over 14 years, this same stretch of land became a graveyard. Between 1996 and 2010, along a remote highway on Long Island, New York, a chilling pattern began to emerge. Human remains, mostly of women, started appearing, all linked by a common thread: the world of escort services. Despite one of the most extensive and baffling investigations in American history, the person responsible, now infamously known as the Long Island serial killer, has never been officially caught. This is one of America's most haunting, unsolved mysteries. And tonight, we're unlocking the case file. It all started near Gilgo Beach, a secluded, sandy area on Long Island's South Shore. It's the kind of place you might drive past without a second thought. But hidden within its dense brush and windswept dunes, a dark secret was waiting. Law enforcement stumbled upon a horrific scene. Human remains scattered across multiple sites. Some were wrapped in burlap, carefully placed as if to send a message, while others seemed almost discarded. The initial discovery was just the tip of the iceberg. As investigators widened their search, they began to realize the true scale of the horror. They believed the killer, or killers, had been active for years, perhaps even a decade or more, before the first body was ever found. This wasn't just a single crime. It was a series of murders that would launch one of the largest and most complex serial murder investigations in recent U.S. history. The case exploded into the national consciousness in December 2010. While searching for a missing woman named Shannon Gilbert, police made a shocking discovery. In the thick undergrowth along Ocean Parkway, they found not one, but 4 sets of female remains. Within months, the number climbed. 10 sets of remains, including those of a man and a toddler, were unearthed in the same general area. The victims had been killed over a staggering period, stretching back more than a decade. The killer was methodical, leaving behind almost no forensic evidence. This wasn't a crime of passion. It was calculated. The victims were often sex workers, a marginalized group whose disappearances frequently went unreported, or were reported much later, giving the killer a significant head start and making the investigation incredibly difficult from day one. As the body count rose, a massive task force was assembled. Forensic experts from the FBI and local police departments worked tirelessly, trying to piece together timelines and connect the dots. They used dental records, DNA, and any scrap of information they could find to identify the victims and understand their final moments. But the killer's identity remained a complete mystery. It was like chasing a ghost. Multiple agencies, from the Suffolk County Police to federal investigators and even private detectives hired by the victims' families, threw everything they had at the case. They profiled, they interviewed, they followed thousands of leads. Several individuals were looked at as potential suspects over the years, from local residents to people with a history of violence. But no one was ever charged. The case was a perfect storm of investigative challenges. So, why has this case been so hard to crack? Let's break down the main obstacles. First, there's the anonymity of the victims. Many were transient, moving from state to state for work, making it difficult to trace their last known movements. Second, the advanced state of decomposition of the remains made it nearly impossible to determine the exact cause of death or collect crucial evidence. The killer had chosen a dumping ground where nature would quickly reclaim the evidence. And third, there was a severe lack of eyewitness accounts. These crimes didn't happen in a busy city center. They happened in the shadows, on the fringes of society. Without witnesses, and with little to no physical evidence left at the scenes, investigators were left with a puzzle with most of its pieces missing. The case remains open today, but it's a cold case, heavily scrutinized by armchair detectives and true crime communities around the world. With so few official answers, theories have run rampant. The most prominent theory is that a single, highly organized serial killer was responsible for most, if not all, of the murders over that 14-year period. This person would have to be patient, cunning, and forensically aware, knowing exactly how to avoid leaving DNA or other traces. Another theory suggests a connection to organized crime. Could these murders have been a form of twisted justice, or a way to silence potential witnesses within a criminal network? It's a compelling idea, but one with little concrete evidence to support it. Then, there's the disturbing possibility of multiple perpetrators. Some analysts believe that the variation in how the bodies were disposed of could point to more than one killer, perhaps working independently, or even together, using the same desolate area as their personal dumping ground. Who could do something like this? The profile of the killer is as debated as the case itself. Some investigators are convinced the killer lives or works near the crime scenes. This local theory suggests they have an intimate knowledge of the Gilgo Beach area, knowing the best times and places to dispose of remains without being seen. It would explain their comfort and familiarity with such a secluded location. On the other hand, some experts believe the killer might have had professional knowledge of law enforcement tactics. The careful way they operated, avoiding common mistakes that trip up most criminals, suggests someone who understood how police investigations work. This could be a former or current officer, a security guard, or someone with a similar background. It's a chilling thought that the person they were hunting could be one of their own, using their inside knowledge to stay one step ahead. Despite all the manpower, the media attention, and the technological advancements over the years, the Long Island serial killer has never been brought to justice. The case has become a modern legend, a story whispered in true crime forums and debated in documentaries. It leaves a trail of unanswered questions that are as cold as the winter winds whipping across Gilgo Beach. Who are the unidentified victims still waiting for their names to be returned? Why did the killings seem to stop around 2010? And the biggest question of all, where is the killer now? Are they in prison for another crime? Have they passed away? Or are they still out there, living a normal life, hiding in plain sight, with a terrible secret? Today, the Long Island serial killer case continues to haunt investigators, the victims' families, and the public. It serves as a stark and terrifying reminder that some of the most monstrous criminals do lurk in the shadows of fiction. They operate in our world, often right under our noses, leaving behind a legacy of pain and mystery. It reminds us that for some families, justice is not a guarantee, and for some cases, the final chapter may never be written. Here in the Redacted Room, we believe every story deserves to be told, especially those where the mysteries remain unsolved and the questions linger, even decades later. Thank you for joining us. If you found this case as compelling as we do, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the Redacted Room for more deep dives into the world's most perplexing unsolved mysteries. We'll see you next time.